Alrighty, so before we get into today's video, I just want you guys to know first and foremost that these tiers are not going to be ranked individually. So what you're looking at on the screen is not the best of the old units to the worst of the old units. They are just dragged into this tier in the order that I placed them in. So again, not ranked 1 to 10, anything like that. These are just going to be the kind of tiers that I deemed each unit to be in for the Dragon Ball Heroes category. I want this video to serve more as a visual guide to, I pulled this character, where do you think they stack up on the Heroes category? Are they a usable unit? Are they not a usable unit? This is not to be like, this character is better than that character, but we could at least argue that a character is in a tier above or a tier below another character. So, long intro, let's go ahead and get into it. Today we're going to be looking at the Dragon Ball Heroes category tier list. Now, what I did for this specific list is I deemed these characters by, I want to say 5 typings, right? I did the top tier, like the best of the best characters where you're running the Heroes team, you want to run them for sure. I have the good category. These are good units that are fill-ins if you don't have the top tier options. I have passable. You can run them, but they're not going to be your first choice by any means, right? Like you could definitely get caught or not want to run them in specific events. We have the need an easy A tier, which means the characters are pretty mediocre and they're not that old, right? Like it's like they're only like a couple years old. Spoiler alert with that one, there's only 2 characters on there because most of the Heroes category at this point is easy aid. And then you have what you were looking at on the screen right now, which is going to be the old category. Now, with the old category, it's literally like just characters that already have their easy A. I don't foresee super easy A's coming for Heroes characters. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't think it's very likely. At least not where we're at right now, considering we're literally just talking about like the first Dokkan Festival exclusive characters getting their super easy A's. So if that's going to potentially be a thing, you know, I might be over 30 years old at the time. So, oh, that's tomorrow, isn't it? No. Okay. I'm not 30. All right. But anyway. Right, but what are we looking at here? We are looking at the Heroes team, or the Heroes category. So the first category here I have is going to be the old category. These are a tier of Heroes characters that are already pretty old. They've gotten their easy A. They just don't have much going for them at this point. You really have to like cherry pick a situation if you want to potentially use these characters. Now, for gold, it's going to be the case for basically every character in these rows, right? The first one is going to be the great, I guess really the only character I would say is passable on this list if I really had to think that, like sit down and think about it, would be the Great Saiyaman 3 on the top row. Maybe I kind of misplaced him a little bit, but I think passable might be where he belongs, but I don't know. He is pretty old. But Golden Cooler, again, just a character that you're not really going to be seeing much uses for. Super Saiyan 3, Adult Gotenks, whatever the hell you want to call him. He was impressive when he debuted with his easy A and stuff like that, but just not really good anymore. Baby Janemba, Baby, whatever the hell you want to call him, right? Just not good anymore. Great Saiyaman 3 can counter, and I believe he has guard and some defensive potential, so he could, I think you could really kind of deem him as passable. Boo Bobbity, no bueno, right? The Cumber unit, he is a free-to-play character who easy A'd a couple years ago, so that's a character that you're not really going to be looking for anyway. The free-to-play Great Saiyaman 4, I think that is. My Heroes knowledge isn't that good. He's just a free-to-play unit. He sucks. Don't worry about him. The Super Saiyan 3, Trunks, and Gohan characters, again, multiple-year-old easy A's, just not characters that you were going to be running at this point, right? Super Paikuhan, same thing. AGL Toa. Before the list, I kind of reviewed it over with some people, and they said that, you know, Toa might be a little bit better, but then we looked at it, and it's like, hell no. She's just old, right? There's a better Toa on this list. We had Ames, however the hell you say it. He's no good, free-to-play easy A, old, right? You guys kind of get the idea, right? The same case is going to be said for literally all these characters below them. Like Supreme Kai of Time, old, right? Demon King Deborah, or whatever the hell, old. Just all these characters are old, right? Like, they've already easy A'd. Unique skill orbs are not going to save them. They're just not bringing enough to the table at this point. So that is why I have these characters on the old tier. Now, if we move up to the next tier, which is going to be Need an Easy A, and I guess I'm kind of spoiling a little bit of the next tier, but we have the Rage, Vegeta, Control, Berserk, whatever the hell his name is, and then Limit Breaker, Super Saiyan 4 Broly. Last year, just not the best bunch of characters in the world in terms of, like, they were definitely the worst of the bunch last year because there are some very good options that are going to be talked about later, but just not good, right? You see these characters, you pull them on the hero summons if you're going to do them. Just very disappointing, right? You're just hoping that they get an easy A sooner rather than later. This is basically just the bad tier. But again, like if I were to just do like it kind of making it black and white and just being like good, bad, it would be like 7 good units and then like 35 bad units. So the way I wanted to kind of split this up was like, here's some kind of cope for the character. This is something that you could look forward to in the future. And I think that's going to be the case with these two, because the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4s, especially when that whole team is Easy 8, I think you could really be seeing a lot from them. But this Broly and this Vegeta last year, in terms of a pretty good batch of Heroes units, like they got me to summon last year with it. I would say that they are just decent, right? Not very, well, no, these characters are just bad, right? Need an Easy 8 just means bad. So that's what we're going to be doing for the second to last tier. Let's go ahead and move up to the next one, which is going to be a pretty wide one, and that is going to be the Passable tier. These are characters that you could potentially run on a team. They have their moments where they look good, but there are going to be a lot of moments where they do not look good as well. And unfortunately, there are some new characters on this bunch. So if we look at it, right, we have Janemba's Dokkan Awakening, modified Janemba's Dokkan Awakening, and Golden Metal Cooler's Dokkan Awakening. I think that both of these characters are good, just not great. I think the Janemba with his guard and defensive buildup can look pretty impressive after a few turns, but we really are sort of in a what do you give me turn 1 meta at the moment, really. And both of these characters are giving you diddly squat, if you will, right? They're just not good characters right now. Janemba with the guard, that's kind of his cope, and I've said cope a lot in this video, but really all of these characters here, except for like, Demon Goddess Toa on the bottom, like, any character that is relying on dodge or hidden potential dodging it's just going to be sketchy, right? And I think that's going to be the case with all of these characters here. Vegeta can look pretty impressive after you build him up, but again, it's the turn 1 problem and the lack of a slot 1. I think with these characters are just really where the problems are going to be. Sealess has that big bad boss link, which is obviously going to be very helpful for a character like Mechikabura or Mechikabura, however you say it, right? I think he could look potentially pretty impressive next to him. Few is okay. The Super Saiyan 3 Xeno Vegeta, I'm not the biggest fan of. It's the same thing with the Super Saiyan 3 Gohanks and Gohanks and Gotenks Easy A's as well. Just not really characters that I'm looking to be running on my teams, but if I need to fill them out or fit a specific theme, I'm okay with running both of them. And the same thing could be said for whatever, like this, I don't even know what Few this is, I'll be honest. I know it's Few, I just don't know which form it is. But it's going to be the same thing for that character, right? When it comes to these Super Saiyan 4 units, I think that Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta can look good, but they are a little bit restricted in their passive, and there's just a lot better Super Saiyan 4 characters on the list, including Bardock as well. You know, he is not going to be in my top cut in terms of Super Saiyan 4 characters at the moment. I think there's like 2 or 3 better ones right now. The Tech Broly, I think, is the worst of the bunch when it comes to like the modern ones, aside from like, so it goes like Tech Broly, and then Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Broly, and then we've got Super Saiyan 4 Bardock, and then the 2 Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta characters, and then there are going to be 3 more Super Saiyan 4 themed characters that we will be looking at in the rest of the video. But looking at some of these other characters, right, Supreme Kai of Time, Brainwashed, she suffers from the enemy needing to be debuffed. And then the free-to-play unit, honestly, I forget what she does, but she's like more of a modern one. If you want to toss her into... Here was the issue with her, right? She had an Easy A, and she's not old, right? So I had to just throw her in Passable because she just didn't fit the criteria for either one of the two, right? I could have made a separate Need a Super Easy A tier, but that would just make this video too long. So that's why she's here. She's kind of a little bit of a polar bear in Arlington, Texas. Like, I don't really know. I could just take her off the list entirely, but I threw the other free-to-play ones in here, so I might as well just leave her on the list, right? So that's kind of what we have for the Passable tier. I think Xeno Super Saiyan 3 Goku is much better than the Vegeta counterpart, go figure. And then just these 2 Super Saiyan 3 fusions were not the best. So Toa, if you want to move her up because of the dodging and the support and stuff like that, and the debuffs that she could potentially apply, that's fine, but I don't think she is as good as some of the options above her. So let's go ahead and move on to the next tier, and that is going to be the good tier. Now you guys can see the good tier has a lot of options, right? There's only one thing that might be sticking out to you. You might be like, oh, whoops, whoopsie. We've got the Warrior in Black, right? He's a new character and he's not in the top options. Well, I feel pretty good about that. I am definitely convinced that, like, out of the 5 new releases, he is not up to par, right? I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of his kit after looking at it, and I just overall, I like the spot that I have him at, just being like, if you want to like pretend like it's ranked like the top of the good tier, like, sure, knock yourself out. But again, I did not rank this list. So we've got Mechikabura, a very good Easy A, the healing that he's doing, the damage reduction that he's giving himself, the attack that he can do with AGL orbs and stuff like that, the kind of mind games that you get to play with that unit, not even mind games, but the brain power that you have to use and think when you're using the character. I think that's a fun aspect of him. It's like, what do I want in this situation? Do I want these orbs or do I want those orbs? And this character is going to look good regardless and still have impressive things. I remember talking about his link set and being pretty impressed with it, and then I went and actually looked at it, and I'm like, oh no, this link set sucks, right? he is definitely like a big bad bosses merchant in terms of link set, because you see like, oh my god, he has big bad bosses, he's cracked, and then you look at the rest of it, you're like, oh, this is horrible. So Mechikabra, very good unit. I like where he's at in the good place. You could probably argue he's a top tier option, but again, I didn't think he had what the other characters were bringing to the table. So that's why I have him where I have him. We already talked about the Warrior in Black. The free-to-play Toa is very good for a free-to-play character, and you could argue that she was even better than like Warrior in Black, to be honest. Like, you really could. So that's why I have her where she's at. I think defensively, Super Saiyan 4 Gohan is giving you some of the best that the team has to offer in terms of these Super Saiyan 4 characters. So I put him above Passable. I think if you have an excuse to run him, you might as well. I like the same thing for Hearts. I think Hearts is a good leader to have moving forward, and when he gets his easy A, he'll be in a good spot. You could definitely move him to the need an easy A spot, but I think he was good enough to the point where I didn't need to do that. The same case could be said for Mass Super Saiyan 3. If you want to move him to a top option, I have no problem with that. I wish he was a little bit better in his base state, but the transform version I am very impressed with. I think the female Warrior in Black, some of y'all left her name in the comment section, but I don't know it off the top of my head. And she's good, right, for a free-to-play easy A, like she's or just a free-to-play Dokkan Awakening, I believe it is right now. And then the easy A will be in the future. We've got the Xeno, Super Saiyan Goku, and Vegeta characters. I think what really kind of separates these two is the fact that you can run them off of the Heroes team, and they still can potentially work. Will they be better on the Heroes team? Yes. Are they runnable outside of the Heroes team as well? Yes, right? I think the support they have is really cracked. I think the stacking that they have is good. They have not intro buffs, but first turn buffs that are going to be giving them guard and damage reduction respectively for each one of the two. I believe it's Goku gets the damage reduction and Vegeta gets the guard. It might be the other way around, but I know it exists for sure. And then they are also going to be stacking, getting that guaranteed additional super on the first turn, where they're going to be able to stack and do some things well, get that defense building up and getting them ready to go. So I think good is a good spot for both of those support units, and I think that they also get plus points for being able to be ran outside of just the Heroes team, right? Coming up next, we have Xeno Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This is the oldest character of the bunch that's up here, right? This character has aged extremely well. He has that just oh so sexy combination of guard and damage reduction. We all love that combination in our house. Very, very good character. I think he's aged very well, and I don't really see any reason to move him off the good spot. Defensively, he's still holding it down for you to this day, so I'm going to pay some respect to the fact that how well he aged and keep him up in the good spot, but I'm not going to quite put him in great, right? So, or the best of the best, right? So, the next character, you could argue the same thing. You could move him up a tier, but I'm going to keep him down here. This is the best linking partner for Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, and you guys have not seen him yet, so I guess you could imagine where he's going to be. I think that this character is doing a lot of good things, keeping up like on the offensive side of things with Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, and also giving him the linking and partner and the super counters that he can potentially do. I think that this is a really good slot 2 partner for Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, and you shouldn't have any problems with running him on a potential Heroes team that's not even Super Saiyan 4 focused, right? You're going to want to have that other Grade 8 power or Giant 8 power character around, so that's what Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito is for. So if you have this character and you can run that rotation, I'd recommend that you do so. Next up, we have the Dark Mask King. I believe that is what this guy is. He really is kind of just like, you're thinking about one thing specifically with this character, right? And that's just going to be the life steal. It's very obvious, right? If you guys don't know what the life steal mechanic is going to be, you super, and then 10% of the damage that you deal is going to be recovered as HP. So we do a 3 million crit, we get 300,000 HP back. So you guys can imagine that that's pretty broken, right? That could potentially save you in a run when you're taking like 150k per normal and you have like 200,000 HP, you heal 300,000 of it back, and then you're going to be able to survive that situation because you got all of your HP back. God Trunks, I wish I could put him in great, but I just don't think he's there. Very, very good. Can put out some good attack output. The Rainbow Orb changing, I believe that he has, is good as well, but I just don't think that he was up to par with what we were expecting for this batch of Easy A's, and not even the best Easy A of this modern batch, who we'll be talking about here in a moment. And then we also have Robelu. She's a dodge merchant, dodge or die type of character, but she's a character that you can get away with running in the difficult content, and that is why I have her up here. Is she going to sell you runs? Absolutely. But guess what? Everybody on this list that's below her, right? Like, it's like, oh, she's going to sell you so many runs. Guess who else is going to sell you runs? All of these characters, right? So that is why I have her up in the good tier. Let's go ahead and move up to the last one here, and that is going to be the top options. Now, we have 4 of the 5 new bunches, right? We have the Few, we have the Demigra, we've got Eos, however you say it. We've got the new Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and then Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, as well as Xeno Pan. Now, I know immediately what you guys are going to and what you're upset about, right? But hear me out on this one, right? Xeno Pan, you can run her also out of the tier with what's it called? The heroes team, right? She's got the dodge, she's got the support that she's giving. She's giving crazy support to heroes characters, right? And she is fulfilling her role exactly the way you want her to on the team. I think that the support that she is giving, guess what? All of these characters here, she's giving support to super and extreme class, if I'm not mistaken. So that means guess who gets better when Xenopan is around? This guy gets better. I don't know why you guys can't see my mouse, but this guy gets better. This guy gets better. They get better. She gets better. He gets better. Everybody on the list, they all get better when Xenopan is around. And also, to add insult to injury, if you will, this character also now has a little bit of offensive output with their very good chance to crit. They could potentially do a little bit of damage and finish off an enemy if you need them to. Now, is this a character that's going to come in, hold it down in slot 1 at all times, and solo every single boss? I don't think so, but this is going to be a character who's going to be giving plenty of support to help the characters on the team who are supposed to anchor down the roles, like, you know, Universal Blue Goku and stuff like that, Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. They're going to look more impressive on a turn when Xenopan is around. And that, I think, is really important to have, right? You think about like somebody like Pan in Legends, right? Red Pan. She's literally like, I know it's apples to oranges in a way, but she's literally like the best agent character the game's ever seen, basically, right? And I think that this character has potential to do something like that with the support that she's giving, the dodge chance that she has, the offensive output that she is putting in. I know that people aren't going to love this spot, so really she was kind of like why I had to heavily stress why I was like, listen, this isn't ordered, but with Xenopan here, I really do genuinely believe she is a very good option for the heroes team. So here you guys have it. Let me zoom out a little bit, give you the full view. This was the heroes tier list. Again, if you guys want a sort of comprehensive visual guide as to how I view the category at the moment, how do I want to run the characters, all of those fun things, this is how I would have it look. Again, because I know what people like to do is go to the end of the video and take a screenshot, so I'm just going to do this and you can leave me alone, but you know, I really do think Pan is a phenomenal character on this team. So there you guys have it, the top options, the good tier, the passable tier, all of that fun stuff. So let me know down below what you think of this, and if you did enjoy today's tier list and you want to see me do these for other categories, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you are new around here. That way you don't miss out on any future content like this. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.